Hi there and welcome back. So it has been a couple of rough days here on Arena. We are definitely not looking good. We are still in Platinum 4, but luckily we're not dropping out of Platinum again. So I have been experimenting a little bit with decks. And first of all, Dirty Build 6 has gone through some changes. We are still pretty heavy on the removal. I know there are a lot of people out there saying that removal is just one card for one, and they're right, it is. The question is, can it keep us long enough in the game to actually build up what we want? For more consistency, I'm trying Greedy Freebooter now, and we are still playing Freestrider Lookout with Outcaster Greenblade, Colossal Rattleworm, and Glissa the Hellraiser. 4 cards I have added in are Cease and Desist. So why am I playing this one? Basically, it targets an opponent's graveyard, so we do get the bonus of committing a crime, and at the same time, we can destroy all artifacts and enchantments. Yes, it does go against a few of our cards, being Agatha Soul Cauldron and Virtue of Persistence, but there are a lot of artifact decks and enchantments decks out there, so I am going to test out this deck and see what happens. Also, it does provide us with life gain and draw, so I'm I'm interested to see what's gonna happen here. So this isn't a test. Deck 7 is still Orsov, and we are still playing some removal, but we have cut down on the removal in this deck. So we have the Phyrexian Flesh Scorcher together with Giza the Hellraiser for late game, a little more power play. We are still putting in 2 Hostile Investigators just to have the discard effect and access to some extra card draw. For more consistency, Lord Skitter's Butcher, which does provide us with an option for Scry 2 and a draw, together with the synergy that we've been working on in this deck is Fortune Loyal Steed. And then we have 2 Delnies. Right now I haven't invested in more cards in him, but it's definitely an option for the future. Then we've added in a lot more creatures, and we've taken out a lot of the removal. So where in the past we used to play 12 or 16 removal spells in this deck, I have taken them out, and we are now playing 2 Deep Cavern Bats with 2 Tiny Bones, because I have Tiny Bones twice, and I think it might be interesting to try them out here. And we are still playing Nisumi Informant. We are playing 3 Ravens now, Raven of Fell Omens, as we do commit quite a lot of crimes, even with a lot of those um, removal cards being removed, we still have a lot of crimes that we're committing. So I think this one might end up giving us some action as well. And then we still have the Skullcap Snail, which will exile a card from our opponent's hand. So we still do have the hand targeting in here, but we have taken out most of the removal. I'm trying to go a little bit more wide with this deck and see how that works. The last deck we've been working on is this one. This is a new idea I've been working on a little bit. It's taking a few ideas from current decks, being the Fortune Loyal Steed and the Delny, but also working around 2 cards that I had in my collection that I was actually very interested in, being Mandible Justicia. I'm not really sure I'm pronouncing this one correctly. Which, whenever another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It is a 2/1 lifelinker on its own, so the life gain could be interesting when we're up against mono red decks. Another card that works really well with artifacts is Yotian Dissident. So this one gets us a 1/1 counter on a target creature we control, which we can use to either pump our Mandible Justiciar, or maybe himself, or maybe some other creature. The interesting part of it is whenever an artifact enters, we get to do that. So that's really some interesting synergies here. One of the artifacts we're going to play is Market Gnome. A 0/3, whenever it dies, you gain 1 life and you draw a card. For 1 mana, having 3 toughness is not bad. It does give us an early blocker, and it gives us a little more consistency and life gain. If it's exiled from the battlefield while crafting, then also we get 1 life and draw a card. Now, we don't have any crafting in this deck yet, but the option is there. Another card we're putting in is Norn Inquisitor. He himself is not an artifact, but when he does come into play, he does create an artifact token via his Incubate 2. So also he gets to pump those artifacts, making them essentially a 3/3 artifact creature, plus himself as well. And as he comes into play, he's going to trigger these 2 thanks to his token generation. Then we have Tough Cookie. Let's call it the Cookie Monster. The Tough Cookie enters the battlefield, creates a token, a food token by the way. The food token is an artifact. Tough Cookie itself is also an artifact, so already we have 2 artifacts for 2 mana, triggering the other 2 cards twice. Also, non-creature artifacts can become 4/4 artifact creatures. Turning a food token into a 4/4 creature really isn't a bad idea. Then we have Sir Ginger the Meal Ender. Again, a cookie, but he has trample hexproof and haste as long as an opponent controls a planeswalker. That might not happen all the time, but his second ability is whenever another artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on Sir Ginger and scry 1. The scry will help us get consistency. The +1/+1 can pump him pretty fast and pretty hard. Also, for 2 mana, we can sacrifice it and gain life equal to its power. So we have access to quite some decent life gain through the Tough Cookie and the Sir Ginger, combined with the fact that they are artifacts and we can sacrifice the food tokens for gaining life. Suddenly we can pump Sir Ginger. Right now we only have 2 copies, but I think it's definitely worth considering maybe putting in a third. Then a artifact creature that is very interesting, I think, is a 1/4 toxic 1. Now the toxic itself, we're not really playing on it, but our opponent can't ignore it. And most importantly, whenever it enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or less. The interesting thing here is, first of all, it's an artifact creature. As a result, it's going to trigger the other 2. But also, we can exile quite a lot of creatures. Many artifact decks out there will use 3 mana cost artifacts or create 0 mana cost artifact token creatures, which we could exile with this one. And that brings us to the non-artifact part of the deck. These cards here have been put in to test them because I have tested them in previous decks and I do like them. First of all, Kutsil Malamet Exemplar. Your opponents can't play anything during your turn, which is really useful. But also, whenever 1 or more creatures you control with power greater than its base power deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Now, considering that we have Yodian Dissident, we have the Mandible, we have the Sir Ginger, we have the Norn Inquisitor that would make our incubator tokens 3/3s instead of 2/2s. All of these would trigger in effect and draw us cards, giving us again more consistency. And also our opponent won't be able to cast any spells during our turn. So as you can see, we are keeping it very low to the ground. We are at 1, 2, and 3 mana cards. And you can see the last few cards are also low to the ground. First of all, we have Wojciech Investigator. It's a 2/4 flying Vigilancer, providing us with a decent blocker and a flyer. And at the beginning of our upkeep, we get to investigate for each opponent who has more cards in hand than we do. Again, that's an artifact token that comes into play. It provides us card draw, and it would trigger the other cards here as well. And sacrificing those artifacts for card would also pump Sir Ginger. So I think there's some decent synergy here. And then streetwise, look out the Delny again. We played it in the other Orsov deck as well. Here, this one, I think it speaks for itself. Tough Cookie would trigger twice. Norn Instigator would trigger twice. As long as you keep this one as a 2/2, this one would trigger twice. Market Gnome would trigger twice. Even Wojciech Investigator would trigger twice. So there are a lot of cards that would trigger twice in this case. Even the Annex Sentry would essentially exile 2 creatures at the same time. So Delny really has some added value in this deck, I think. And then Fortune Loyal Steed. I'm putting 3 of them in here. Again, because I think this card could be interesting with some of the cards. First of all, Annex Sentry. If we could exile it, bring it back, and then exile another token with it, we could keep using this one for dealing with tokens. Norn Instigator would give us more artifacts. Tough Cookie would also give us more food tokens. Those things really are useful to us. This one would then get a pump. This one would get a pump. So those are some interesting cards. I think Fortune Loyal Steed might be interesting in this deck, but it is an optional card in the deck. So let's save this. So that's 6, 7, and 8. Now we also have build 5. Build 5 has had a few changes as well. I am trying to go a little bit more consistent with this deck. How am I going to do that? First of all, Tiny Bones the Pickpocket. I'm trying it out, just see what it does, because it does similar things to Jasper Flint, being it can use cards from your opponent. So we have 6 cards right now in the deck that do that. But like I said, I was working on a little more consistency. How? Well, first of all, we have Charming Scoundrel providing us either with mana acceleration or with the ability to discard a card and draw a card. Drawing cards always means getting access to your cards a little earlier, which is useful. We have Servant of the Stinger, seeing as we are committing a decent amount of crimes. This one could be interesting. It's a 1/3 Death Toucher. If it deals damage to a player and you've committed a crime this turn, you get to search for a card and put it into your hand. So basically, it's a small tutor. I think your opponent should be wary of this one, and they'll probably remove it, but then they won't remove something else. Then we have Kellis Sellsword, which we had in the original build as well, and we still have Furnace of Rains. Now, how are we committing crime? First of all, Jasper Flint and the Tiny Bones, these 6 cards are already committing crimes. Then we have Furnace of Rains, again, 4 cards that are crimes. Kellis Sellsword, once we sacrifice the creature, we deal damage to any other target. Once again, that's a crime. We have got a Soul Cauldron. We can target our opponent's graveyards, again, a crime. And then we have, for a little bit of power and board wipes, because as you see, we have taken out most of our single card removal, but we are leaving in a minor board wipe, being Brotherhood's End, as it can deal with both artifacts and creatures on the lower end. Then we have Urobresk Forge. As you may have noticed, I am a big fan of this card. It puts out pressure and it keeps giving, and I really enjoy having this index. Once you get this out on the field, it's a constant pressure until they deal with it. So I'm leaving it in. And then, of course, we're going to finish it off with these 2 cards, being Rush of Dread. For basically, the main target is going to be 5 mana here, being target opponent loses half their life rounded up, combined with Bloodletter of Aklasots, and suddenly we have a game-ending synergy here. So I think those are solid changes to the decks, and I'm going to try them out now. So we still have Journey Build 2, which is the original Rakdos deck. As you can see, this one still has the removals, still has the Magda. So this one is still the original build. I'm not really sure yet if I'm going to change it or not. Right now, it's a different direction for the deck. So that being said, let's try out those decks here and let's see what we can come up with. I was thinking about starting with number 8. Today our quest is playing 40 lands, so we should be able to do that. As you can see already, I did play it once or twice. I'm not really sure yet if it is ready for ranking, so right now I'm just going to play a few free games and then see what happens. So, Journey Build 8. Let's see what our opponent has to say about it. So this deck is about going wide, so let's see if we actually can go wide with it. We definitely have our mana. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm also testing the new Desert Lands, as this deck is meant to be ready for the rotation. As you may have noticed a few previous videos. Oh, that was a short game. Yeah, easy win, we didn't test anything. So I am working on decks that are ready for the rotation, as I think that's the right move to make right now. Right now we don't really have a deck that is able to get us to platinum that is rotation proof. So we definitely need one, as the new set rotation takes place in just 3 days now. And yeah, I'm a little bit worried about the main rotation that's going to happen with the cards as well. So I'm definitely looking for solutions here. This one is a little bit slow, but we are going first. So yeah, let's try and see what happens here. We don't have removal. I'm thinking maybe keeping the Norn Inquisitor for 1 turn. Nope, we're not keeping him. Yeah, let's get rid of a steed. Yeah. Let's see what they come up with here. Depending on what they do, it would be interesting if we could keep the Mandible on the field 1 or 2 turns. Yeah. Alright. So let's play Delny first. And now he can't block, and we get some life gain in there. So next turn we actually have 2 options. We can either play the Norn Inquisitor or the Fortune Loyal Steed. I am thinking about probably going with the Inquisitor, as it would pump our Mandible quite decently, unless they remove it. So let's see what happens here. Yeah. That changes things a little bit, doesn't it? Yep, let's do that. We can, like I said, with Delny, it triggers twice. So we get rid of 2 creatures for the price of 1. We get some serious lifelink. And we just dealt 6 damage to our opponent, so that was a really nice turn. So if they leave Delny on the field now and we can play the Inquisitor next turn, that would really be a powerful play. Because Norn Inquisitor will create 2 tokens. Oof. Alright, Deep Cavern Bat. Deep Cavern Bat, he's probably going to take the Inquisitor here. I'm not really sure what he's waiting for. I'm hoping he'll take the Steed, but I'm expecting him to take the Norn Inquisitor. At least if he sees what I'm seeing. He didn't. Now that changes things a little bit. Yeah, let's play this one first. The reason I'm playing this one first is because Norn will trigger twice, and this one will trigger twice as well. But after it's triggered, it won't trigger double with this one because it's already more than power 2. And now we're in a good spot to just hit him. So he's at 2 now. So we're in a pretty decent spot here. Next turn we can create 2 tokens, and then depending on what he's gonna do, this might just be game. So the deck clearly went wide the way it was supposed to go. And as you can see, the order in which we played the Inquisitor and the Market Gnome made a big difference. The Norn came into play creating 2 artifact tokens, meaning immediately triggering the Delny twice, whereas the Gnome itself would only have triggered it twice as well, but now we had a lot more. So yeah, that was a really good start. Let's play this deck once more. I think we have a pretty good understanding what the deck does. So yeah, let's play one more game with this one and then move on to the next. Again, we have a decent start. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Let's keep. Our opponent is going first, so that's going to slow us down a little bit. Let's not do that. So he can choose to use his remove over this, but then we will just get a life and a... Yep, that's fine. We have a blocker, which is what I want. Let's put this one in instead. Nope, we're not gonna attack. So yeah, I didn't use the Market Gnome to trigger this one. There's a reason for that. Yeah, okay. Not much we can do about that. We do have a Sir Ginger here. We're not going to attack. I could have put the Steed in, but I'm thinking the Steed might be an interesting card to play this upcoming turn. Let's put in the Steed here. Yeah, we don't really need the lands right now. We need something else, as this deck is about going wide. No, let's not attack here, and that's in the turn. So next turn is going to be the Tough Cookie, and then we can start pumping our other creatures. So it seems like he's working on some kind of food strategy as well. So let's see whose food strategy is going to work best. Let's start with Delny first, then the Market Gnome, and then next turn Tough Cookie. Yeah. I do want to be able to scry, and he could technically block with 2 creatures. He would lose one of them, but let's do it anyway. Yeah, let's do this one. submit 3. Let's go to combat, and let's just attack with this one. It is going to cost him a creature, but we do get to scry if he chooses to sacrifice 2 of his creatures to deal with it. He does. I'm okay with that. Like I said, I just want to be able to scry because right now we are a little bit stuck in what we have. Yeah, let's do this one. Oh, we didn't get to scry. My mistake. I overlooked that one. So he has to be alive for that ability to be there as well. Yeah, of course, because it's an enter the battlefield ability, and he doesn't enter the battlefield. Yes. Yep, I know now. Yeah, let's put this one onto the field. And then Sir Gingerbread. Yeah, let's sacrifice 1 Sir Gingerbread. I want to keep the original, but then this one triggers twice. Let's do 1 Sir Gingerbread, and let's do 1 Market Gnome. We don't need the forest. No, we're not going to attack this turn. Let's see if he leaves in Delny for 1 more turn. If he does, I'm very happy about that. Yeah, so he's creating a lot of rats here, but we can deal with them. So it seems that we are on a roll with... There we go. So let's pump 1 Market Gnome. Let's pump 1 Gingerbread. Let's pump him once. Let's pump him once. And let's pump him once. And let's pump Delny once. And just because we can, let's sacrifice a food token. Pumping Sir Gingerbread, scrying, and there we go. So let's attack with our Gingerbread. He can kill it if he wants. It's gonna cost him 2 creatures. I'm aware of that. But he didn't want to sacrifice his creatures. That's nice. So our Market Gnomes are really good for blocking, but he is rushing us a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah. Yeah, that was the real target he needed to deal with. Let's block this one. Let's block this one. And let's block 2 of the smaller rats. So yeah. Like this, we still have some blockers. Let's create and then let's go into the attack with this one. so there's a planeswalker. Too bad I sacrificed my other cookie a few minutes ago, but that's okay. He only has 2 creatures that can block right now, and that's exactly what we want. I don't have 3 mana I need to deal with that, but let's go to combat anyway. Let's go to attackers and let's attack 1 Market Gnome on Vraska. Yeah, I should have done twice. Should have done 2 maybe, but yeah. Alright, that's fine with me. We can't kill it. That wasn't my intention, because we do get to get 1 life, and that's end the turn here. So we are drawing quite a lot of land here, which is annoying. Yep, not much we can do about that. So if we don't deal with Fresca soon, she's gonna give us a lot of poison counters. So let's create a 4/4. Let's block these 2, and let's see what happens here. Yep, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, that's a nice move. We are getting too many lands again. It's really bugging me as usual. Yeah, let's let's have 2 creatures attack this planeswalker, and let's see what happens here. Let's go to damage. So yeah, that planeswalker is worrying me quite a lot, because it could end the game extremely fast. Don't forget, he has his proliferate creature. Basket can put us at 9, and then he just needs to proliferate once, and we're game over. So yeah, not much we can do here. We are in trouble. Yeah, there isn't anything we can do about that. It's a nice synergy here, though. I really like that synergy. Even though they can't block, they do a lot of damage. And I think that we are in a situation where we don't really have much of a choice. Yeah, let's go to blockers. Let's block with just this one. Not much we can do about that. My turn. Yeah. Yeah, let's put a counter on this one. That's great too. This one I like as well. Let's go to combat. So I don't have enough mana to make this a 4/4 again, which is too bad. So we're just going to go to attack. Those two. Going to go in here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so he's sacrificing one of his creatures. So next turn, I'm hoping Loyal Steed will still be on the field with Tough Cookie, and then we can do some interesting stuff. We also have a Delny, so coming up, so this could be really an interesting turn to come, depending on what he does. I'm a little bit worried. Let's see what happens. He doesn't have many blockers, which is good. Besiege the mirror. Yeah, not much we can do about that. Is he going to look for some kind of removal to get rid of the steed? I think he is. Rats have toxic, okay. This is a really nice rat deck. Ooh, really, really nice deck. Nice concept, nice deck. I have to admire it. Yeah, let's go to the blockers. We can take out one of the rats here. So, thanks to his menace, we can't block all of them. I know he's gonna get a boost for this one, but let's see what happens anyway. Yep. Let's go. All right. Step number 1, Delny. Step number 2, with Tough Cookie, submit 2. Then, step number 3, let's turn this one into a 4/4. And here we go. Next to combat. Fortune and Market Gnome against this one. Yeah, let's do it like this. Tough Cookie. Yep. Let's pump some creatures here. Let's pump this one. Let's pump this one. Let's pump this one. Let's pump this one again. Let's pump the cookie. Let's pump the steed. Yeah, we don't need the land, but we could use the gnome. This one is better than the gnome on top. And then let's end the turn here. So next turn we have a Yotian Dissident coming into play. It doesn't trigger the other cards, but I'm pretty happy with that anyway. Because it's looking like we are going nicely wide, and right now we're going a little bit wider than him, and he is doing a similar strategy. Yeah. This is a really long game. But the Steed and the Delny both did exactly what they were intended to do in this deck, so I'm really happy with that. Yeah, tough cookie. There isn't much we can do about that. Pass to attackers. I am going to go to blockers. He doesn't have menace. Time to get rid of it. Pass the damage. Not much we can do here. He hurt us pretty bad. Nothing I can say about that. Yeah. All we can do right now is sacrifice it for mana, so that doesn't do much. He only has 2 blockers. Let's just hit him hard. They all have toxic, so we are in trouble anyway. I think it might just be game here, but let's just see anyway. Yeah. And let's end the turn there. So this might just be game. He has 4 rats, 6 in total, plus he can proliferate. That makes it 7 potential toxic. We are at 3, so it could be game. We do have 2 blockers at the moment. The question is, what is he going to do? Yep. So you see here, Lord Skitter is a really good card. If you have some kind of token production, it's definitely a good card to consider. So all his rats have menace, which is irritating now. I think we are in trouble here. As to attackers, not much I can do about that. Let's go to blockers. Only have 2. We are at 9. It all depends on what we get now. We get land, which is not great. All attack. Good game. And that's it. So he can block 2. And then 2 is still going to get through. And that's enough. Whew! That was a really nice game. It was a nice synergy game. We both got to do what our decks are supposed to do. These kind of games are the ones that I really, really like. It can go back and forth, you have a lot of interaction, and you can actually play your deck the way you want to play it. So yeah, that was a really nice start to the games. Let's do Journey Build 7. Let's try this one for a game or two, and then if that one works, we'll end it with a positive note. So that were two really nice games in a row. Let's see if we can't add to that. So now we're going back to Orsov. We're going to target our opponent's hands. This one is also going wide, but in a different way. We do have a lot of creatures, but we don't really boost them. We don't really pump them. This is more about getting into your opponent's hand and taking away his options. So, yeah. We are going first, but we don't have any black. I don't like that. This is much better. Yeah, let's keep. Right now, Soul Cauldron is the better choice too. Yeah, that's a third land. We can use that definitely. Let's say hello to our opponent. No, I am not going to give you extra mana. Dinosaur, yeah, that's okay. I can live with that. 2 or fewer other lands. Let's get rid of one of the cards in your hands, my friend. So we're up against a ramp deck. You see? There we go. Some kind of dinosaur ramp deck. There we go. Exactly as expected. Not much we can do about that. Let's put the rat in here. We want to scry, so we're going to sacrifice a creature to scry. Now we're going to commit a crime next turn. Nope. We're going to commit a crime after that. Nope. So I think this is the better choice. Yeah, he's going to go over us pretty hard. Not much we can do about that. Best we can hope for is let's sacrifice another creature and let's see if we can't come into some solutions. Yeah, let's keep it that way. So yeah, he's going up and over. So this is just a deck going completely up and over. There's not much we can do about that. No blocks here. Best we can hope for is gain 2 life. Put down a Friction Gorger. And then fly over for 1. So we are in trouble here. Definitely in trouble now. Yeah, not much we can do about that. Let's commit a crime here, and let's get rid of the Cavern of Souls. One more land would be really nice. We're only at 6. I really would like to have 7 so we could put the virtue in. We can't right now. Yeah, he's probably going to block with both. Let's get rid of Huatli instead. Yep, that's fine. So he was able to bump it. So yeah, we're in trouble now. We do have a lot of permanents in the 5. Let's go to combat. The problem is he's gonna hit us hard next turn if we don't. Problem is this one survives. And that hurts us just as bad. Yeah. So yeah, this deck definitely doesn't match up with ramp. Quite the opposite, actually. Yeah, this is not what we needed. And then it's probably a good game here. Yeah, there we go. So this is a classic ramp dinosaur deck. There's very little we can do against that. Best I can hope for is just block this one, but it's just... There we go. So nothing we can do here. Let's just concede the game. So not what I was hoping for as a test. I'm still not convinced this strategy is solid enough. In theory, dealing with your opponent's hand is definitely a strategy that can work, but I'm not sure it's consistent and it's strong enough in Standard the way Standard is right now. In Commander, I used to have a deck that actually did deal with my opponent's hand pretty effectively, and in a multiplayer it even worked really well, being able to take out basically neutralize 2 of my opponents at the same time and just bashing on the 3rd. So that worked really well. But in Standard I don't have access to those cards, so I'm not really sure if I can make this kind of strategy work. Let's wish him a good game. Alright, so we are up against some kind of... No, we can't play it right now. We're up against some kind of crime deck. Forsaken Miners, a card we've seen quite a lot. Probably a Deep Cavern coming now. Deep Cavern Bat or something. Oh, that one is also a card that is interesting to play. Delny is... Yeah, let's do that. I could have played the Swamp. I'm not really sure why I didn't. Yeah. And I think it was a mistake not to be honest. I'm gonna try and take a risk here. If he can't deal with Delny, then next turn we've got a Deep Cavern that's going to trigger twice. And that's what I'm hoping for. And that's what we're going to get. No blocks. Alright. So scry, yeah, let's keep that one. Let's... I made a mistake again. I should have put the swamp here. Keep making mistakes. I think I'm getting tired. So yeah, let's get rid of those two. No attacks. And we just lost the game here. Let's block that one. Or we are losing big time. So I made a couple of big mistakes here. In fact, I just made another one. Should have played that one. I would have gained another life. Yeah, so that was another mistake. I should have played the Raven first and then played the Virtue. That would have gained me some extra life and then good game. Yeah, so we made a lot of mistakes this game. I'm clearly getting tired here. It's been a long day. So let's end it on a negative note. It doesn't change the fact that I'm not happy with this deck. And I think it's time we get rid of it. Even with the mistakes I've made, I'm not convinced this deck is gonna work ever. So I'm gonna scrap it. Let's not spend any more time on it. So next time we're gonna try Journey Build 6 and Journey Build 5 again. And then let's see how they're performing. Journey Build 8 I am happy with. And I really think we can make something really nice out of this one. So I'm going to keep that one for now. So have a great day. Take care and see you next time. Bye bye.